battery on my phone. I'm not sure if I'll be able to even make it over there to charge up my phone, but I'm gonna try. Ah, shit. During the winter time, I try to wear 3 layers on the bottom. A lot of people said that they would help me turn in the crimes being committed against me. And shit. Well, ain't no guarantees that it's working. Everybody tells me, hey, when he does that, fucking hit him back. I tell them all, if I fight back, I'm the one that goes to jail. These people will pester me and pester me and pester me and pester me, and then play victim when there's consequences. Wolnez should have left at the very start, but he just couldn't help himself. He wanted to start some shit, so that's what he did. He doesn't like being on the internet, does he? But unlike Wolnez, I don't go running around just fucking assaulting people because I heard a fucking rumor. Unlike Wolnez, I am a reasonable human being. Well, having problems staying connected here, but at least I'm starting to have a charge on my phone. You know, people didn't care how many people harassed me, how many people threatened me, how many over and over and over calls that I got from fucking predators. Nobody cares. I show them. They don't quite understand the impact of it and how important it is that these things have been frequent and ongoing. See if I can make myself stand up. I'm in so much fucking pain. By slandering my name, Natalie, Alicia, and Maddie was fate. There's a lot of people dead because they didn't want to tell. taken a lot of beat when people are sick and they don't have much time. I understand that. A dozen people here who work at the Safeway who have been witnesses to the situations. There's since what I'm going through is making the folks angry, maybe they'll work together to help actually turn in the evidence instead of letting me get treated like I'm some sort of retarded meatball. And I know 5% battery ain't much, but my battery died when I first video. So I'm glad to have something. All I can do is record this stuff, can't turn it in. People want to just change the subject to housing, which takes for fucking ever. And the time that it takes to get housing, I'm busy taking abuse. All these people take advantage of my disabilities. Natalie and Ollinger didn't stop to think about the repercussions for others at any point in time. Wolnez doesn't stop to think about the repercussions for others. Knees killing me. Knees killing me. My left knee is killing me bad. I'm going to be in pain. I'm going to be in pain. I'm not allowed to express that I'm in pain. Well, actually, I am. Nobody cares to turn in any of that resulted in me being harmed so greatly. In order for it to be a safe place, a safe environment, to be able to trust the police officers to do their jobs. And I can't do that anywhere without a friend or family member. No matter where I go. Once you're called mentally ill, that's fucking it. You have no rights. You have to have a friend or family member who cares, or you have no rights. To have a friend or family member who is informed, or you have no right. Everybody's got the same idea about housing. You know what? I had housing in Nebraska twice. Also paid rent at 4 other places. 5 other places. Over and over and over. But moving from one unsafe environment to a safe environment, how does that help anyone? I know as tonight, it shouldn't have gotten this far. Someone should have done something about this on the fucking 21st. When I needed help stopping these predators, and I need someone to look at the So they know I'm telling the truth. But I got this idea that I can just do it on my phone. No, I can't. All these people with access to an actual computer to do this shit on. And they have that access whenever they fucking want it. I don't. I have to work around people's schedules. Well, abuse. One of the ladies here at Safeway has done a fucking shit ton to help me. A shit ton. It's got to be turned into the Department of Justice. Now with the holidays coming in, that's going to take a especially long time. And in that amount of time, my predators get to railroad me. They get to keep me tied up in stupid shit. With all these people, the suggestion is that I get violent, is that I fight back, that I punch wolnez, or that I hit any other predator who's harming me. They suggest that I get a taser. I got one. Can't bring myself to use it. Of course, that would require me putting down my telephone or putting down my cane, both of which put me at risk. A lot of people want to tell me to beat him with my cane. Well, that's not okay. I set down my cane and I focused on making sure that they weren't able to harm me seriously. What's fucked up is that I've had to deal with 7 years worth of people like wolnez. 7 years of this shit. Oh, my battery's at 7% now. Hopefully I'll be able to walk in the morning, but there's a chance I won't be able to. I'm disabled when my predators can use my disabilities to pretend I'm a monster, or to pretend that I have abilities that I don't, to try to discredit me. Somehow magically I'm not disabled at all when it comes to turning anyone in. So all of my resources get stolen because I'm never allowed to turn anything in. Doesn't matter how smart I am, how much time I spend writing or typing. I've had to try to do that stuff when I had a safe environment, which has been very rare. Most of the time it wasn't a safe environment. It was just an environment where I had enough peace and quiet without having to run around like a chicken with my head cut off to be able to sit down and work on it. It was very rare. I had to stay with people who were very loud, oftentimes very drunk or strung out on methamphetamines. People promised to help me. No such thing safety out here. Doesn't matter how hard I work. Doesn't matter how much I bust my ass. What matters is I'm not a human being to the American people, because the police and the media tell you we're all bad people out here doing drugs, raping people and killing people and pillaging and murdering, and God, y'all are so fucked up in the head with that shit. And there are people like that out here, for surely. We have to be afraid of those people too. Matter of fact, we have to be afraid of them too, by a lot. Andrew Wolnez heard a rumor. Out if it was true or not. The cops didn't bother to find out if any of the shit with Natalie Bollinger was true or not. The media didn't give a fuck either. They assumed my guilt and went to fucking town, harming me over it. Over and over and over again. And getting away with it by calling me mentally ill. And then magically I'm not mentally ill when it comes to them trying to fucking railroad me. After they prevented me from turning it in my predators, sending me around in circles. I saw my first therapist over the situation with Natalie Bollinger in January of 2017. And I continued to see that therapist even after Natalie was killed. Her name was Nicole Peralta of Region 1, Nebraska. There was also Nicole Jarrell and Jeff Ritter of Colorado. One of those people actually sexually assaulted me. Her name is Nicole Jarrell. She went to Naropa University, and she stabbed me in the butt with carrot fucking Zilla. It wasn't okay. Definitely not okay. But that was many years ago, and I needed help stopping abuse. Now, in all those many months of being in housing and having a therapist, how is it that we never somehow got around to how do I actually turn these pieces of fucking shit in? How do I do that? Who do I turn it into? Because the people they told me to turn it into didn't give a shit. They told me I just needed to man up. They had real police work to do. There's a lot of people that were heavily involved in the situation, like Brenda Dickinson. She was involved in the situation from all the way back when Natalie and Alicia Bollinger were going to come up and visit me in Nebraska. They weren't able to see me in Nebraska, so Natalie, of course, and Maddie and Alicia all wanted to see me. I coordinated a day to do it. Brenda Dickinson was able to get one of her nieces and her boyfriend to give me a ride down to Colorado to see Natalie and Alicia, but I had to be back in Julesburg because I had to see a heart specialist to find out what was wrong with my heart. As always, the nurses there treated me like I was a fucking drug addict. They did that to all of us. If you're fucking homeless, that's how you get treated. But they had to do their jobs. The doctor paid attention, at least. He said, you've got an improper rhythm. It's tachyarrhythmia or something like that. And we're going to put some radioactive stuff in you, and we're going to have you do a stress test. And then after you get done doing the stress test, we're going to stick you in a machine, and it's going to see all that radioactive stuff, and it'll tell us what's going on. I told him I wasn't down with taking drugs, that I didn't want pain meds because I was going through some severe back spasms too. But we didn't go into that. I just wanted to make sure he knew I didn't want drugs. I wasn't there for drugs. So he told me I could take niacin for it and some other vitamin supplement to go with it. That was in 2016 before I went to Virginia. Now, since I didn't get to see Natalie and Alicia and Maddie because their phones were all off on the day we were going to meet up, well, they all got a hold of me and let me know it was sad. Natalie got a hold of me to let me know she wasn't getting on the airplane unless I promised to go see her in Virginia. But none of y'all want to hear that. But these people never came forward with me. Now they could have done so in private right away. Instead, they fucked with me over and over and over again about do it, gonna do it, gonna do it, gonna do it. They never followed through. Brandon Ratner never followed through. Alex Furman never followed through. So without a friend or family member willing to listen to what was going on with Laura Nelson, it always turned into one story or another about herself. With Brenda Dickinson, she was taking steroids because she had rheumatoid arthritis. So she was always talking about her poop. Meanwhile, she was on stage 3 cancer meds. Stage 4 cancer meds, sorry. She doesn't have cancer, it's for rheumatoid arthritis. And no matter what, she'd stop in the middle of whatever I was saying to start going off on a bunch of negativity in her life. Then she'd stop and start praying to God in the middle of the fucking bitch and no, God, fix this and fix that. And God didn't fix none of that shit, just so you know. These are people that helped me to get money to go to Virginia to begin with. Rory Jepson as well. He's dead, by the way. He was going to try to help me to turn in Scott DeCosta. You can't do that when you're dead. %% battery. We're looking up in the world, ain't we? You know, I try to put on a good game face, but this shit fucking terrifies me. People abuse me, so I record it. And I try to turn it in. That doesn't work. Because I got to go in alone. That's the thing that I explained to everyone from day one. You cannot make me go in alone. This shit is not fucking okay. Cynthia said if I beat his ass, he'll stop. Well, I don't have it in me to beat his ass. I barely had it in me to fucking lock him up today. Well, yesterday now, I guess. Sometimes it 12:31. So yeah, yesterday. I just wanted to make sure he couldn't get any good momentum into a swing. He likes them haymakers. Wild haymakers. I'm autistic. I can take a lot more pain than most, but holy shit, this is fucking godly wrong. I was able to wrap him up and make sure he couldn't get a good hit on me. And of course, I was holding on with both arms, just making sure his face was covered up, making sure he couldn't see what was going on or see what he was swinging at. He elbowed me in the top of the knee quite a bit, and he tried to headbutt me a lot. Well, he actually did headbutt me a lot. Just, I was able to control his movement with his head by not being able to actually pull his head back enough to get a good solid headbutt. Plus, I'm wearing 1, 2, 3 hoodies that he was trying to fucking headbutt through. Well, that's not too effective. This shit's bullshit. See how much battery I got now? 13%. That's a decent amount. One of the gentlemen who works here, he said he's going to bring me a solar charger to help with the constant need for battery. There's been more than one situation where there was some sensitive information I need to tell somebody that I can't put on the internet. But they haven't made the time for that. I'm basically stuck here doing this until about 2 or 3 in the morning. Sitting here next to the wall charging up my phone, hoping nobody messes with me. Although he's messed with me as late as like 3 o'clock in the morning, and he's messed with me as early as like 6 o'clock in the morning, so gives you a small window to sleep in. So there's a lot of people out here on the streets that are sober, but you don't want to hear that. We have to interact with the people that are on the drugs, because most of the services here only help out the people that are on drugs, but they don't help them how they need. Or if you're in housing already, then you can get help with the services like gas. But if you're having to live out of your car, you've been displaced, it turns into a really fucked up situation. You can't go to the cops because they're going to treat you like you're a drug addict. Meanwhile, when there was a bunch of evidence in Tacoma, Washington, and I went to the homeless people and I said, hey, there's evidence of pedophiles in here and I need to turn that in. I need it back. I don't care if I have to pay to get it back. And you know what? It was drug addicts who helped me to get that computer back and helped me to get that telephone back. At least one of them. When the police wouldn't do a damn thing. There's multiple drug addicts who have helped me out more than any cop ever did. And I know I say this probably more than you want to hear. I don't care if you're a drug dealer. I don't care if you're a drug user. I care how you treat human beings. You don't get to use your drugs as an excuse to harm other human beings. And keep in mind, as somebody who has been beaten profusely all growing up and as an adult by alcoholics, drug dealers, and drug addicts. That's the behaviors that you commit to that I don't like. There's lots of people who get drunk every day and never beat on anyone. Ran Ingersoll was not one of those kind of alcoholics. A lot of my predators were very verbally abusive, and it doesn't matter who's being abused. It affects everyone. If you're in a house and your mom and dad are beating the fuck out of each other all the time, yeah, that's going to affect you as a child. If you're used to getting beaten on, used to it doesn't mean it doesn't still terrify you. It means that you've learned to accept it as the way of things. It doesn't help anyone out. This shit is not fucking okay. Nearly everybody in there, Brianna, yeah, she told me I should shoot him, but I'm not willing to have a gun. I've had plenty of people offer me guns here and elsewhere. when your police officers are allowed to bully homeless people and terrorize them and antagonize them, and then, of course, you give them guns and badges, and then, of course, their word must be written in stone. Seems nobody's equipped to allow a victim the time to sit down and write out a proper police report in peace and fucking quiet. When it got to the point that police were unsafe to go to, it wasn't worth going back. My evidence is important and it does need to be seen. And with all these services going out of their way not to look at any of it, to force me to try to do it across the internet when I can't. Majority of what I'm, God damn it, I can't stand up. I can't stand up. Maybe if I use both hands. Before Natalie died, a lot of people were going to help me. They just wanted to tell me over and over again, I just needed to be patient, be patient, be patient. Well, I had to take fucking assault after assault while they were being patient. And because they were so patient, I wasn't able to turn in my predators. Yeah, I wasn't patient. It was slacking. And then after that, like, oh, well, it doesn't matter. Why don't I just ignore these assaults? I just ignore these threats. Why don't I just ignore this slander, which is the result of the threats and the assaults? The repetitive harassment since 2016. Now, how do we stop it? Look at all these people who say, Sean, if I saw that happen, I'd beat the brakes off of them. They say all sorts of violent shit that fucking freaks me out. And beating people and telling me I should get violent with them back. Like, why can't we turn them in together? Why can't we find a way to turn him in together as a group for my safety? So I don't get talked over, so that the abuse is what's focused on. Instead of me going to fucking 30 goddamn appointments to get not a goddamn thing done. Mental health appointment after mental health appointment, going back and forth between two places that I literally cannot travel to now anyway. I am entirely dependent upon others for my safety, for my travel, for my expenses. I am entirely dependent upon others and their mercy. It doesn't feel very good after a life of service to others, because that's what you've taught me to be. If I don't protect others, nobody will protect me. Well, guess what? It doesn't matter if I protect them, they're still going to look the other way. It doesn't matter to them that I actually care about them, that I don't want them being harmed, that I'm willing to help them turn in their predators. But who's willing to help me actually turn in mine? The lady who works here who is trying to help me, she can't do shit at night. That doesn't mean she's a bad person. It means she has to fucking sleep. Everybody needs to sleep. But when am I going to get to sleep? I have all this running around that I'm expected to do during the day that I can't do anyway. So I got to try to maintain a schedule that keeps me up during the day. Unfortunately, fucking tweakers and vandalizers and schizophrenic people and people who are on drugs fucking keep me up all night every night. Now them youngins, they kept driving by my vehicle earlier and revving up as they went past. But they seem to be using their brains. They tend to watch my channel when they come out here and fuck around with me. That way they know if I'm recording or not. Well, whether or not I'm recording live anyway. Defending myself. His damage to me is nice. And take the punishment. I'm not going to stop speaking up. I can't. If I speak up, yeah, sure, I'll be harmed. But if I don't speak up, I'm still harmed. So what's the harm in trying? You tell me it's my fault that it's worse because I speak up. Well, I shouldn't have had to speak up on Facebook or YouTube. I should have had a real friend at some point in time that I could have gone to that would actually help me turn it in right away. But how do you get that done when everybody just wants to talk over you while it turns into more abuse and more people abusing? And all I can do to try to keep myself entertained while I have to record is to talk. I don't have a friend or family member to talk to. Let's see what my phone's at. 16%. I'm getting fucking cold, so I'm gonna take my 16% and call it good for now. Obviously, I got too much anxiety to sleep. Now this shit needs to stop. In the very first video that Andrew Wolnez is recorded in, actually his face, because he's in at least 2 recordings down there at the Tillamook Sporting Goods parking lot, flirting with them youngsters. There's a guy calls himself Inquisitor 3. Called himself Inquisitor 3. He committed suicide because people were doing to him what people do to me, except he wasn't able to handle 7 years of it. He couldn't handle 2 weeks of it. 2 weeks of it was enough for him to call it quits and end his own life. I went through over a year and a half of it before I tried to end mine. Is that entirely true? Well, before that, I begged for help. In January of 2018, after Natalie was killed and I was assaulted by Waylon Lola Ty. He wasn't the only one who assaulted me that night, by the way. I was assaulted repeatedly in the jail. Laughed at, made fun of, and of course, one of the things they did there, they were all talking about Natalie when they took me into the ambulance bay. Literally everything that I did was something wrong. If I moved, I was resisting. If I stopped, I was playing possum. So I've got 2 officers at any point in time in the jail yelling at me to do conflicting things. And they're physically harming me because one officer doesn't want me to play possum, so he's going to physically harm me until I move. While the other officer is playing like I'm trying to wriggle free and get loose. So he's going to assault me and make me stay still. They knew exactly what the fuck they were doing. And so do you. So does Wolnez. You don't like that I speak up. You don't like that you were recorded harming me. What the fuck is wrong with you? Police didn't care to see any of the recordings. Then later on, they want to pretend like I deserved the abuse because I recorded it. If you got a staff member that you have to see repeatedly, and that staff member rapes you repeatedly, and nobody will listen to you, so you record it to show that that staff member is raping you, and nobody will look at it. They just want to argue with you and tell you to run around to all these mental health places, spend all of your disability money to go to run around to all these places. Or they tell you, oh, it's illegal to record. Really? Or they want to insinuate that you deserved to be raped because you recorded it. That you must have wanted to be raped because you recorded it. After telling you they can't do anything unless you record it. If you're raped by a staff member who's raped you repeatedly, and then you have to turn it in to that staff member, you finally do record it, and you have to turn it in to the staff member who raped you. How appropriate is that? It's not. Let's see how well this phone is holding up. 13% battery. It's good. It holds a better charge than the one I have to record on. People don't stop to recognize the abuse that I'm going through. Please recognize it. Acknowledge that it is happening. And then help to put a stop to it. How do I put a stop to it? I was assaulted at the hospital here. I was assaulted repeatedly by Wolnez. I was only assaulted once by Robert Farnsworth. He got the short end of the stick on that one. He didn't expect me to react so quickly, though. A lot of people did bad shit to me. That's why I record. A lot of people tried to harm me and actually did harm me because they were angry that they were busted doing something wrong. Well, don't do wrong shit. And for God's sake, use your fucking brain. If you don't want people fucking hitting you back, don't hit them to begin with. If you don't want people calling you names, don't call them names to begin with. If you want to be treated with respect, and you're in a position of power that a victim has to go to when they're being harmed, if you don't treat that victim with respect, don't expect to be fucking kissed up your fucking red backside. You treat me with disrespect, I don't owe you anything. And when you're in a position of power, disrespecting a victim over and over again, by talking over them, selling your own narrative, and refusing to fucking listen, we got some major issues, don't we? You know, a police officer cannot diagnose schizophrenia. And even if they could, it would still take them 6 months. Police officers abusing their position of power to have innocent people harmed is a pretty fucked up thing to do. It's also commonplace. While Natalie Bollinger wanted to pretend because she was fucking embarrassed, I have to deal with actual predators like wolnez. I had to deal with them in fucking Boulder, Colorado, my home, where the majority of my loved ones lived. I wasn't even home for one day when I had to deal with people acting like wolnez. Standing outside of Starbucks. It's probably October 26th or so. Oh shit, 5% battery. I gotta go plug in again. Going back and forth is fucking killing my back and it's killing my legs. But I don't have any other way to keep my fucking phone charged. My right arm, especially my right shoulder and my right hand, are constantly in pain. There's nothing I can do about it. I got disability because of physical disabilities. But they won't acknowledge my physical disabilities or the fact that my life is at risk. The fact that this abuse has been going on for 7 years. Wolnez might come by another time tonight. I haven't seen him since the fight. Thank goodness. I knew something was up when he rode by me twice. Rode by my vehicle. I knew when he come back he was going to do something, but I was running out of fucking battery. This shit's not fucking okay. It's not okay that I gotta end this video for my fucking safety because I'm about to run out of battery again. My phone is my safety. It's my ability to show the reality of what's going on. It would be my ability to reach out to a friend for help. But all my friends are going to do is talk over me, make me feel bad because they're having problems in their lives too. The people here that are helping me out, I don't hardly know them. But they've known me long enough and seen enough of this abuse to know that it's going on. Malcolm was actually there for one of the fights with wolnez, and I can't even call it a fight. It was just fucking wolnez harming me over and over again, every fucking time. Now, yesterday I was able to keep myself from getting permanently injured more, I hope, by ramping up on him instead. Yeah, I know that Cynthia told me to beat his ass. Well, almost everybody told me to beat his ass. It's their solution for everything. And I know that it's just because it's what they're expected to say, but it's still hurtful. It still makes it tough because I need help turning it in. And if you're telling me you do violent things, that's not helping to turn it in. It also tells me you're not likely to help turn it in. Poor people tend to go for street justice because the cops will never give a shit. If you're being harmed over and over and over again and the motherfucker just won't leave you alone. Well, a lot of people out here, their solution is they want to tell me to shoot him, to taser him, to spray him in the face with pepper spray or whatever else. Good to be with you. Thank you for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper and your sister's too, and no victim left behind.